Ex-assistants to rich, powerful people. What's the most messed up behavior you witnessed during your employment? Serious. Old masters oil paintings. And modernist masterpieces, recognizable ones you studied in school, leaning up against the wall. Stacked against each other. Also, the wife's $40,000 per place set in China from which she ate her boxed mac and cheese. Edit. I should add that there were a dozen or more of these museum quality paintings strewn carelessly about the nondescript den of their freaking beach house, with windows open to the sand and corrosive salt air. Using my old account I work with, or for, this really old guy who is in his 80s. He tells me stories all the time from his past of all the crazy it has done there before coming to America and making his fortune here. The country he is from is known for corruption. Especially in the past when he was there. He was a son of an influential and rich AF politician. In his teenager years he used to basically do whatever he wanted. Think the devil's double but on a smaller scale. He said girls used to flock to him no matter what because he had money like that. There was this one girl he said didn't give him any chances and he really wanted her. So he took her and threw her into the car, taking her to the middle of the forest before coercing her into having sex. Pretty much ducking rape. The girl's dad found out and he complained to the police. Instead of taking my CEO to jail, they made up a phony charge against the dad and threw him in jail. The dad was forced to drop the charges for his freedom. The police, the judge and any person with influence was in this guy's pocket. That's one of the most ducked up things I ever heard. And he told the story almost as if he's proud of it. I work for a very wealthy family in the commercial real estate market and the one thing I have noticed is how much they lack a sense of time. They have had people doing everything for them for so long they no longer realize how long it takes to complete a task. One example. Hey, take this deposit to bank A, it has to be deposited today. Sir, it's 4:50, they close at 5 o'clock and it is a 25-minute trip one way. Edit. Sorry guys. No, didn't get the raise or the Ferrari. Maybe one day. The director of my former company was a nice enough woman. But she used her position to get employees to do everything for her. The head of human resources and finance was required to help manage her personal bank accounts, enroll her children in school, book her holidays, everything. She also had a nanny for her younger kids who was somehow being paid through the company for tax purposes, and so she wouldn't have to outlay the money. I had a pro golfer hire me solely to list 90% of his belongings on eBay. Everything from huge TVs to golf club head covers. The odd part was he wanted everything listed for $0.99 and shipped as fast as possible when it inevitably sold. I lost that job when he went to jail for procuring said items with illegally gained funds from his invalid sister's inheritance. I was questioned, but since I had no idea how he got rich, no charges were ever brought up on me. I just thought he was a weird eccentric rich guy that wanted new toys. And I assumed he had invested his pro golf earnings over the years. He was sponsored by Nike after all. Probably illegal. But I would have gotten a friend to buy a bunch of the expensive it for me as soon as I listed it. The CTO of a company I worked for was born into a rich family and didn't know how to talk with his inferiors. He was so bad at human interaction our CEO forced him to go to some kind of class to learn how to interact with humans. This douchebag loved Porsches. He drove a couple to work. And he had one he would race at amateur races occasionally. One day one of our co-workers failed to meet us for lunch because he was broadsided on the way to the restaurant. For some reason after the accident he came back to work. We were standing around his cube and he's telling us about his car getting totaled when the CTO walked up. After hearing the story, the CTO says, and I'm not embellishing, at least it wasn't a Porsche, then he laughed and walked off. I held the corgis while she gave them each a suppository. Posting before I read the comments, but guessing this rates no more than a 3/10 on the messed up scale. I worked for owners, 3 brothers of a private bank and managed their properties. One had first edition uncut classic books purely for decoration. He also had a Rolls which required new tires due to sitting unused for months at a time. The steel belts flattened from the weight of the car. One wife called me all but accusing me, of eating an $8 pizza at their country club, which after numerous far more than $8 international calls turned out to be her son in town having lunch. This from someone with a running balance over $10 million on any given day. My ex-GF's little sister was dating and is now married to a rich older guy, much older. I heard some tearful confessions about how she was forced to have threesomes with him and prostitutes etc. Also, she used to babysit for his kids and they started dating when she was about 15 and he was closer to 50. Yet she married him and the family was cool with it. Yeah. Apparently he used to date her mom to back in the 70s. The family is kept happy with vacations and gifts and such. Also, they are actually married now. For whatever that's worth. I interned at a production company. The CEO made me go get a new BlackBerry for him. Took 4 hours to go downtown because it had to be bought in downtown LA for whatever reason. When I brought it back, he opened the plastic, turned it on, and asked, "What the duck is this? Why aren't my numbers on it?" "Well, it's brand new. You haven't updated it yet. This is useless. What the duck have you been doing for 4 hours?" Well, I was. Smash. And he threw it on the ground. Literally. Just mashed it. Ducking useless. I was flabbergasted. I may or may not have carried a coked out girlfriend and a large amount of drugs out of my boss's house, CEO of a very large company, while she was covered in puke and cocaine so his wife wouldn't catch him as she arrived home from her sister's house a day early. Full story. My old boss regularly cheated on his wife with any number of women. Well, he calls me one day, because we are friends away from work, and asks me to come to his apartment ASAP. I drive over there and he's blitzed and this chick is laying naked in her own vomit, maybe his too, mumbling about something. He says he has to shower and clean the vomit up because his wife is 10 minutes away, so please get that cunt out of here. I grab the girl and help her to her feet and cover her up with a shirt. As I'm walking her out he yells for me to grab the party bag. The only bag is a dope kit. I grab it, jump in my car and drive off. This chick is blasted. She doesn't know where she lives and is sure she's having a heart attack. So I calm her down somewhat and reach in her purse and find her ID. Luckily she has her current address on it and I take her home. I drive back to my house and pull into the driveway and remember the dope kit. I open it up and there's a sugar cube sized piece of meth. 3, approx, grams of kind bud. And what has to be an 8-ball of cocaine. Someone who isn't me smoked the bud but sold at way below market value. The meth and the cocaine. I got a steak dinner and a few beers later that week from the boss. Needless to say, I no longer work there. Edit, long-winded version. I didn't work, but was good friends, and still am, with this kid whose mother was an executive for a big gaming company. Basically she would attend PAX East, pretty big gaming convention, every year and with such would give her kids tickets for themselves and their friends. I wasn't one of those friends that year, but I got tickets for Christmas and we still went together, and oh my god, Watha's mother did literally send shivers down my spine. When we went to the booth where she was at, that year she was advertising a new game. I don't think it ever hit off. If it did, I don't remember the name of the game then. When she saw me and her son get a little show floor, she pushed every kid out of the way so that we could be first in line and actually got a kid kicked out for throwing a fuss about it. I wanted to say something, but my parents had paid $50 for me to get to the convention and I wasn't looking to get kicked out before even being there for an hour. She was a nice lady though. She was able to get basically a few of everything that the popular exhibits were handing out. Hats, shirts, wristbands, coupon codes. I became friends with a colleague, a delightfully wealthy man and a minor member of European royalty. He wore bespoke suits on his time off. He specifically had them made for lounging. He had a £12,000 walking suit. He was very kind and affable. However out of touch with reality he was. I taught him how to order pints at the pub. The first time I showed him how to do it, He didn't have money because he never carried a wallet. He was in his 40s and led an active social life, but always had a servant on hand to do everything. I used to be the assistant of a celebrity photographer in Nick. Mostly hip hop celebrities and New York nightlife. This guy ducks so many women behind his wife's back. It was obscene. Once there was this model who needed portraits taken, but my boss was ducking her and his wife was suspicious. So he had me take the pictures instead. Except he drove me there with his wife, but had to drop me off across town so his wife wouldn't know where I was going. Had to walk 20 blocks to get to the model's apartment. Also, if we worked until 3 AM, which was common, I would have to crash at his place or else I would have to sit in Penn Station for hours until the first NJ Transit train. He made me sleep on the floor. Even though he had a couch, I had to sleep on the floor. Everyone involved in the Nick upper class are bastards. Bastard coated bastards with bastard filling. Just waiting to duck you over. Edit. Phrasing. Edit 2. Gilded. My first time. Bless you kind stranger. Wait. Is it okay to get gold now?